Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to Kansas City. Welcome Union Station in Kansas City. 7 Sports Director Matt Pave here from Channel 7. We're getting you ready for this game on Thursday. Apparently it's a big one. That's what I've been told. So we came out here today, getting the lay of the land. My colleague Michael Schwartz is talking to some fans. I'm talking about the game and all of that kind of stuff. And we've already got a comment from Eric. Go Bills. Now, Tony, I know you're listening to this. Our director, producer, Tony here. I do not have the ability to post questions. So if you could please do that, that would be amazing. Eric, thank you so much for watching. Hope everybody's doing well as we get ready for this game. Obviously, I know there's a lot of people excited. So if you don't know, Union Station is that building that they always show on the broadcast when there are games in Kansas City. I would kind of say it's like the Kansas City equivalent to Niagara Falls. That's the thing that is always getting shown. It's a very iconic building here in Kansas City. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You can see it's massive. So this is a really, really cool spot. We're out here for the game. As you guys all know, it's the Bills, it's the Chiefs. A trip to the Super Bowl is on the line. The second time the Bills have gone to the AFC Championship kind of in this era. It's the first time since they went 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago to the day when they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs here once again in Kansas City. All right, Tommy, another Go Bills. Hi, Tommy. What's going on? Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you guys have questions, please let me know. You guys can talk about injuries. We can talk about players to watch. We can talk about the matchup, anything like that. Fire off your questions. I'll make sure that I get to some of them. Honestly, this just kind of worked out. We had time between our 5 o'clock live shot and our 6 o'clock live shot, so we wanted to hop on here and chat with y'all for a little bit. So we're getting ready for this game, and honestly, I'll be very straightforward with a lot of you guys. Everybody keeps asking me, what do I think is going to happen? Because, right, when you do this job, everybody wants to know, what do you think is going to happen? It's no different than probably you and your group messages when you're talking with your family and friends. What do you think is going to happen? All week I've been saying, my brain tells me I really like this matchup for the Bills. My gut tells me you're going to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City on the road against Patrick Mahomes in a place where they are unbelievable. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Do I trust my brain or do I trust my gut? Because I don't exactly know what the right answer is. Kelly says, bring them lots of luck, Matt. Go Bills. Well, Kelly, I can tell you, I have seen more wins in Kansas City than I have seen losses. But the losses have been in the playoffs and the wins have been in the regular season. So maybe it needs to flip-flop. Maybe we would feel better if the Bills lost in the regular season instead of beat the Chiefs earlier in the regular season. It was really the Chiefs' only meaningful loss in the year, and then they lost the last game when they played like nobody. Basically, they were resting all their starters. But there are matchups in this game that I think the Bills will be able to have success in. And that's specifically more so with their offense than with their defense. I'm a little bit concerned about the Bills' defense. They're banged up. No Taylor Rapp. It's looking like he hasn't practiced for the last 2 days. Matt Milano's a little bit banged up with hamstring soreness. Taron Johnson went from a full participant to a limited participant today. So that's another thing to monitor. And then their cornerback, Christian Benford, he's in concussion protocol. So that's also a bit scary, although he has practiced the last couple of days. So that's at least a good sign. Let's see. SMS says, let's go Buffalo. Kelly says, my brain is working the way yours is right now. And Lloyd is with us, as always. Hi, Lloyd. Go Bills here. Anderson says defense wins games. So we're getting comments galore right here. So here are the matchups that I think could be favorable for the Bills. I think they will be able to have some success running the ball in this game. The Chiefs' run defense is pretty good, but they have slipped a bit the last few weeks. Really, since there's a lot of things here. I think with the last time the Bills and Chiefs played, they did not have a lot of success running the ball, except for Josh Allen. James Cook didn't have a great game. Ray Davis and Ty Johnson didn't do much. But they also played that game without Spencer Brown. And Spencer Brown has become a dominant player, both in the pass game and in the run game. I think the Bills are going to try and run away from Chris Jones and behind Spencer Brown. Now, if they put Chris Jones on that side of the line, then the Bills will run behind Deion Dawkins. But I think what they're going to do is they are going to target the Chiefs' defensive line and say, we like our matchups and our guys more than yours, and we are going to run it down your throat until you prove to us that you can stop it. I think that is what the Bills have become. They are a possession, run the ball, control the clock team that happens to have a superhuman at quarterback who can get them out of precarious situations when they get themselves into them. So that is a matchup that I like for the Bills. I think they are going to be able to have success running the ball, and I think that's a good strategy when you consider who's on the other sideline. the best defense against the Chiefs offense might just be keeping them off of the field. And we've heard people say that about the Bills, right? That's the approach a lot of teams have when they go against the Bills. So that's one area that I think the Bills could have some success. Another area is the play of their tight ends. Now, the Chiefs, this is shout out me to Kimes for pointing this out. The Chiefs have struggled against tight ends this year, and that's an area where the Bills got two guys who they can utilize. I have not been overly impressed with Dalton Kincaid this season. I don't think he has lived up to the expectations or to the hype, and he has not been nearly as big of a piece as we thought he was going to be. But he is still there and is still capable and could still make a splash play or two. And then they have Dawson Knox, who is historically actually had some pretty good games against the Chiefs defense. And I know their defense has evolved over time, but I feel like the Chiefs are going to be focused on a couple things. I think the Chiefs are going to know that they want to try and stop the run. And I think they're going to know that they don't want to get beat over the top with guys like Amari Cooper or Khalil Shakir, because those are going to be the weapons that the Bills try and utilize. I think the tight ends might have some favorable matchups in this game where they can have some success. Now, defensively for the Bills, the only area that I feel a little bit confident on, Lloyd, yes. Do we have a lead in the charge tonight? Yes, there is a lead in the charge tonight. It's at 7 o'clock. That is going to be on Channel 7 in Buffalo. It's a little bit different tonight. It won't just be online. It'll be on TV because it's more hard to explain, but we've got NFL video, so we can't put it online. We've got some guests from Kansas City. Obviously, we're in this beautiful building, Union Station, so it's going to be on TV tonight. So if you would like to, everybody, please check out WKBW at 7 o'clock tonight for a special edition of Leading the Charge. But I was talking about the Bills' run defense against the Chiefs. Now, their run defense has not been something the Bills have been known for this year, right? We've talked about it being a potential weakness for several weeks and several months. They did a good job against Derrick Henry in the first half of the game against the Ravens, and then he started to tear them apart. But the Chiefs' run game has not been what it usually is since Isaiah Pacheco came back from injury. That could be an Isaiah Pacheco not being fully healthy thing. It could also just be that the Chiefs' offensive line has been one of the weaker units in the NFL so far this season. Now, they have shored things up a little bit on the offensive line with Joe Thuney moving from guard to tackle. He is an unbelievable player. He's got the versatility to do that. But when he made that move, the run game started to slip a little bit because teams were able to start getting pressure up the middle, attacking the middle, clogging those holes that he would usually be able to kind of pave ways through. And that has led to a little bit of inconsistent play in the run game. And then that brings us to the Bills' defensive line. That is where the Bills, to me, if they win this game defensively, that's where they win the game. It is their defensive line is better than the Chiefs' offensive line, and you need a game from Ed Oliver, and you need a game from Daquan Jones. Now, those players are certainly capable, but the defensive line has been hit or miss. If this is a game where they hit, I think this is a game the Bills can very much win. If this is a game where they do not make their presence felt, I think we once again go into the offseason talking about how the Bills need to improve their defensive line because it is far too inconsistent. I like Ed Oliver, but it feels like Ed Oliver, to get to the best version of himself, needs Daquan Jones going next to him. And it feels a little bit like the same thing for Daquan Jones. They need to be able to get pressure to Patrick Mahomes up the middle. And if they do that and you get him off of his spot, then you might be able to make a couple plays. Now, the one thing there is that if there's anybody in the league who's better off script than Josh Allen, it's maybe Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Those are the guys. He is going to make plays on you, whether it's with his legs or whether he's going to just find a soft spot and find Travis Kelce, and they're going to beat you that way. You have to live with that happening occasionally, but if they get pressure, those will be less frequent because the Bills might be able to get to him more than teams usually are able to get to Patrick Mahomes. He's been sacked this year, and it has been a talking point here in Kansas City. The offensive line has not been great. So that's where I think the Bills have to win this game. I think they have to be able to run the ball, and I think they have to be able to pressure Patrick Mahomes, especially with the interior defensive line. And there's other areas too, right? Could they get a turnover or two? That would be amazing. But the Chiefs haven't turned the ball over since they played against the Bills all of those weeks ago. So it's one of those games where if you're the team that turns it over, it might be really detrimental. But these two teams are unbelievable at protecting the ball. And the same thing goes for the Bills offense. If they have an uncharacteristic turnover or two, their chances plummet because you just cannot give away possessions in a game like this. And that's why I think they're going to be so focused on picking their shots when they have them, but also just being smart and being methodical here. Tommy says, what do you think about bringing up Hyde? Tommy, I don't think there's any chance. And if you guys know me, I've been the conductor of the Micah Hyde train for the last 3 or 4 months. He's clearly not in a position where he is ready to play, and I don't think he'll ever play again, at least at the NFL level. I think that he was brought in to be. I don't know exactly why he was brought in. I don't know if he was brought in to be the player coach that he turned into, or if they thought he might be able to play, and then they got him here, and they were like, you know what, it's better to just not have him play and to kind of coach. So I don't think that he's the guy. What I think happens, Tommy, is I think Cole Bishop starts, and then I think their backups at safety are probably going to be Cam Lewis and then Kareem Jackson, who's going to probably be a practice squad elevation for this game. Played in this division for the Denver Broncos for a while, knows the game, but has not been somebody the Bills have really needed here. Tony in the control, I was going to say, can you bring up Nick's comment? It's going to be super important for Knox and Kincaid to step up this game. Nick, I agree with you. I think that they have to be players who make splash plays. Now, I don't think they're going to be volume plays. I don't think we're going to see 7 targets, 6 catches for Dalton Kincaid. I don't think that's going to be the case. But I think they might get a couple opportunities where if they go to them, they need to step up. Josh has to throw them a good ball, and they need to bring it in. That could be in the red zone or it can be off script, but those are going to be favorable matchups because the Chiefs, for as talented as they are defensively, there are some winnable matchups with their linebackers. It's a little bit like the Broncos in a sense that you want to attack them in the middle of the field. The one thing about the Broncos is the Broncos had a really good run defense, and the Bills were able to run the ball on them. The Ravens have the best run defense in the NFL, and the Bills were able to have a little bit of success against them, but they obviously were able to kind of play the time of possession games they wanted to play. Let's see. If anybody has any more questions, obviously send them my way. Just reiterating what we said earlier, as far as injuries are concerned, Taylor Rapp, second consecutive day not practicing. It's not a great sign. Probably pretty likely that means we see Cole Bishop starting there. Matt Milano was a limited participant for the second straight day, but he was not in a red non-contact jersey, so that's a good sign. He was, probably going through all of the drills that he would normally go through. And then Christian Benford is in concussion protocol. And it's really hard for players to get out of concussion protocol and get back in a week, but we did see it happen with Ray Davis last week, and he was kind of on the same trajectory as we have seen from Christian Benford this week. We saw him at practice as a limited participant, back-to-back days in a red non-contact jersey. So I would imagine the Bills, that would be a massive loss for them if they did not have Christian Benford. But I think that, right now, somebody said no news is good news. It feels like that's kind of the way we're trending with Christian Benford. We will get kind of the final injury update of the week tomorrow from Sean McDermott. That's back in Buffalo. He'll go on the radio, WGR 550 with my co-host, Sal Capaccio, and then he'll tell them, hey, here's the guys who have been ruled out. Educated guess here. If they're going to rule anyone out, it would probably just be Taylor Rapp, and then that would probably be it. That's just my guess here. It's time for the Chiefs to give the Bills turnover. Is Coleman going to play big for Allen? Yeah, Keon Coleman could be a player in this. So it's funny because when you think about how much – so the game that they played earlier in the season was a long time ago. And a big, media narrative talking point, at least nationally, was how banged up the Chiefs were in that game. And they were. They didn't have Hollywood Brown. They didn't have Rashee Rice. They didn't have Isaiah Pacheco. They were without a lot of, key contributors. The Bills were without Spencer Brown, Dalton Kincaid, Dwayne Smoot, Keon Coleman didn't play in that game, and then there's one other guy that I'm forgetting. So, Keon Coleman has not played against the Chiefs yet. That could be a person who gets a couple shot plays, depending on how the Chiefs are trying to defend the Bills. I could see Keon Coleman, Josh rolling to his right, trying to extend a play, Keon Coleman being the one who's got the most depth, trying to hit him over the top for a shot. I could see that. Once again, I don't think it's going to be a volume play. That's not what the Bills have been this year. So I don't think, Lloyd just commented here, I think it's time for Allen to throw for 350. If he needs to, I think that they're okay with that, but I don't think that's the game they want to play. Because if he's throwing for 350, that means he's throwing for 350 because the team on the other side is also lighting up the scoreboard. And if that happens, I don't know if you want to get into a shootout against this Kansas City Chiefs team, because we've seen what happens in shootouts against this team. I think you need to control them. I think you need to make timely stops on defense. And I think that if you play the game that you played against the Broncos, you'll be able to have some success. The Ravens is a little bit different because the Ravens, they really leaned on turnovers. If they can get 3 turnovers against the Chiefs, I can confidently say that I'm very, sure that they will win. But I'm not banking on 3 turnovers against Patrick Mahomes in this Chiefs team, especially at home. It's going to be an unbelievable game, guys. It's going to be epic. It's Josh Allen. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's every year it feels like the Bills are part of this game of the year. It was last week against Lamar Jackson. Now it's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, a team they've had success against in the regular season. The one thing I'll say to close, I do not think the Bills are scared of this moment. I do not think the Bills are intimidated by this. I do not think they feel a ton of pressure. They know it's at stake, but it feels like they're in the right headspace. They're very much treating this like a, hey, we're grateful to have this opportunity again because we know not every team gets this. And the thing that they said earlier in the week, and shout out Nate Geary because he said this on the radio, it feels like the Bills aren't afraid to lose. And I get that sense. They're going into this game like we're going to put our best foot forward and we'll see what happens. But they're not worried about the possible results of a loss. And I think that that's very important for a team to kind of play with that mindset. So we'll see. We're here in Kansas City. You can see the beautiful, Union Station behind me. Here, I'll turn the camera this way. You can kind of see what's going on. There's like a big hallway down there. You can kind of see my colleague Michael Schwartz over there getting set up for our 6 o'clock news live shots. Beautiful building, awesome city. The Bills are here a ton. The fan bases are fired up. It's going to be a great time. We will have much more content for you over the course of the next couple days. And like I said earlier, leading the charge tonight, 7 o'clock on Channel 7 in Buffalo. We hope that you can join us there. To those of you who watched, to those of you who asked questions, thank you so much. Much appreciated. We will talk to you guys soon. Everybody have a lovely evening. Tony in the control room. I think we're good to go here. We'll wrap it up. Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you guys. We'll have much more content tomorrow.